Hello, welcome. We are live again. I was thinking as I was setting up, it feels like a long time since I was here last. This feels like being here on YouTube and in this space. And it was not that long ago, but so much happens in these days of not much happening, which is odd. So welcome, folks. Hi, Natalie. Great. Happy to have you here. Oh, that's so great to hear that last talk was helpful. So for those that don't know, I'm Jill Davey, and I'm a Dharma teacher with True North Insight, and we teach Vipassana insight meditation retreats and classes and support people individually. And now we do these YouTube talks. The chair just popped. So, yes, as some folks have mentioned in the chat, that on Saturday we started this little 4-part series on wise effort, which is part of the middle path, which means the way that the Buddha taught to find the ending of suffering, the extra suffering that is the pain that is added on to the way life is. And this is the part that we can cultivate being more skillful with. So we started on Saturday, and you can find that recording if you didn't see it, Wise Effort Part 1 with Jill Davey, and talking about how to prevent unskillful states from arising in the first place. And this is tricky because, usually we notice them when we're already caught, when something's already arisen. But so that talk was about how all the ways we can prevent and try to cultivate ways of steering ourselves in a more skillful way. So tonight, I really love this topic. I use it a lot. Probably could use it more. Yes, I could use it more. But this is so, as is often the case, I think for many of us, for this being anyways, unskillfulness arises. And sometimes I don't notice it till I'm already really caught in some reactivity. And so, hi, Geeti. So we don't notice until we're already caught. And then what do we do with it then? How can we be skillful? So for those that didn't catch that first talk about, this is a lot about mind states, but of course mind is not separate from body. And so they're both interconnected, of course, but in particular our mind states often catch us into future planning, and we go over it and over it and over it. Or something we regret, remorse over something that has happened, and we go over it and over it and over it as if that's going to change it somehow. Or as if going over future things is going to affect how the outcome of them, which it usually doesn't. And this is different than taking time to skillfully plan your intention of how you want to move towards something in future. Certainly that's helpful. It's also wise and skillful to have time set aside to designate, to reflect on something that has happened. And if there's remorse and regret, what could I do differently about that? Or what can I learn from that if something was painful? So it's not to say that we, of course, never venture into future and past thinking, but it's when we notice that we're really stuck in a groove. And I think this is happening a lot of late, but it happens all the time anyways. So, often for me, and you can let me know how it is for you, but if I'm really stuck, I can sort of, I mean, I use these tools quite a bit now, but it can kind of feel like I don't have any control over it. And when beginners first come to meditation, they often will say something like, I wish I could just turn it off, like, meaning their mind. And I can't seem to stop or control my thoughts. So this isn't, we don't want to get into trying to control our thoughts and to like judge ourselves and be hyper vigilant, but more guiding ourselves to be skillful of how to get unstuck when we're stuck. And this is also very different than what's called spiritual bypassing, where we like the rose-colored glasses, where we try to just say everything's fine all the time. It's a form of denial or suppression to, when something's uncomfortable, to just quickly push it away or sweep it under the carpet, as it said. And this is not that. That's a good CBC show. This is not that. So, Part 2, how to abandon unskillfulness or unwholesomeness that has already arisen. We're already caught and stuck. So the first, there's there's several aspects to this, but tonight I'm just going to share 3 of them. So the first approach is noticing. Just knowing, turning towards what's going on. Sometimes, we don't notice this until we're already like through the bag of Doritos, or we're already up until 3 o'clock binge watching something, or we're already have said something hurtful to someone, or we're already being harsh with ourselves. So it's often that we don't notice until we're really in the muck. And that's okay. But when we do notice, I'm really stuck, I'm really in a state of anger or fear or grief, then the first thing to do is to turn towards that. I sat at a retreat with Martine Batchelor once, and you can, if you Google Martine Batchelor, she often shares this teaching that was her primary practice in a Korean Zen when she was a nun, and the practice of Korean Zen koan practice. And I found it very helpful at times. And it's the primary, I mean, I'm not speaking for Martine, but from what I understand, from what she has shared, her primary practice, guided by her teacher, was to ask a question over and over internally: what is this? What is this? It's such it seems like a kind question to me. It's, in the way that it's taught. It's not like, what is this? What's going on? What's wrong with me? Why is it like this? It doesn't have that harshness. It's like a curiosity, a lightness, almost an invitation. What is this? And this kind of koan, of course, is not meant to be answered or figured out. It's not a mental exercise, but it's a kind attention, an inquisitiveness that helps us turn towards. So when we're stuck in a state, when we're caught in a painful mind state, we can just first perhaps start by saying, what is this? What's really going on here? when I was sitting at 3-month retreat, one of the teachers shared something. I think it was from Ajahn Suchito. It was with reference to something else, but what stood out to me was a phrase, draw a line around it. So it kind of, because things snowball and become so big and so overwhelming, and we keep proliferating around these thoughts. And so to just kind of draw a line around it and then be like, what is this that's really going on? Oh, I'm actually really afraid, or I'm actually really pissed off, or, whatever, all the states. So if possible, we can't always recognize what it is, but just the question of turning towards, oh, what am I feeling? How is the body? Where am I feeling this? Can I feel my body at all? Is there numbness? Is there tension? Is there pain? Yeah. In the teachings of Buddha likened this next part of the practice another way. So we just start by turning towards it, asking, what is this? With kind curiosity. And then from that, if we're able to notice what is really underlying, what's really going on for me, then we can use its opposite as an antidote. So if I'm really caught in a state of ill will, around blaming somebody for some state of something, or what they've said or done, or what I think they've said or done, and so, but it's causing me a lot of pain, like I'm projecting that pain onto others, and I'm really stuck in it, then I can see, okay, this is anger or ill will. What would its opposite be? So think about what the opposite is. Well, the opposite of ill will might be kindness, loving kindness, friendliness. And then it might arise like, that's not possible. I'm not going to feel loving kindness to someone I'm really in a state of anger around, or some situation I'm in a state of anger around. But to understand that in these teachings, metta, as it's called, or loving kindness practice, is not something you have to feel. It is an intention. And so we want to cultivate the intention to turn a bit of kindness towards ourselves and others. So there's other YouTube videos from True North Insight where people have been guiding loving kindness, and we'll do a little bit of that tonight combined with compassion. So you'll have a bit more of a sense of this. So then another antidote. So if I'm feeling really restless and tense and anxious, and like I can't sit still, I can't be peaceful, I can't be calm. So we might think, what is the opposite of this state? What is its antidote, its opposite? Oh, calmness would be the opposite of being really restless and anxious and stressed. So then we can look at, well, what is calming for me? For some folks, paying attention to the breath can be a calming anchor. For some, not for all. Mindful embodied movement practice can be calming. Mindful attention in nature, very calming for a lot of folks. So yeah, you can reflect on that. You can share it in the chat if you have something that is standing out for you as an antidote to any of these, that's fine. Another one here, I mean, there's so many mind states, I'm just mentioning a few. So we'll talk about fear and grief, which I think a lot of folks, including this being, are feeling a lot of the time lately, or at least some of the time lately. So the opposite of, so the antidote, fear and grief, these are states of great suffering, painful states. So the opposite of being caught in that state might be compassion. Self-compassion, compassion for others, which means a kind attention a kind attention in particular to the suffering itself. What is the pain? What is the suffering here that's asking for attention? And moving towards that with kindness. We're going to practice that tonight after I stop talking. Okay. So these ways of looking at the opposite, like first turning towards, what is this? And if we're able to recognize what state we're caught in, or somebody else might tell us, like, why are you being so pissy? Oh, am I? All right, let me look at that. So if we're able to recognize some state that we're caught in, and then we want to use this wisely to cultivate this antidote to it, not by aversion, but by understanding this is a way to be kinder and wiser with myself and others. The Buddha likened this to, you know how furniture used to be made without nails, but with wooden pegs, and some great woodworkers still work this way, amazingly. So you could imagine an old piece of furniture, perhaps in the time of the Buddha, that was held together with wooden pegs. And then the Buddha described this practice this way, that sometimes if the peg has become rotted, or it was a soft kind of wood that's gotten rotted or weak or cracked or something. And so to replace that peg that needs to be replaced, you take a new one, a good piece of wood, a firm, strong piece of wood, and place it over the circle of the rotted wood. And then tapping it out. So hammering, tapping on the good piece, knocking out the rotted piece until the good piece of wood is completely replaced in the piece of furniture. So we're intentionally, with kindness, not by bypassing, but by kind attention, seeing, it's going to be helpful for me to replace this mind state, this state of heart, this habit that I'm caught in, with its opposite. And I'm going to intentionally do this and replace these thoughts with kindness. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be well. Or paying attention to my breath to calm, or being in nature, and all of these things. Okay. I know Lee would be saying I've already talked enough, but I still have more to say. So he's not here to tell me. This second way. So these are kind of like, you start with the first one and then you try the second one, but sometimes we're still stuck, right? First of all, we just turn toward it. What is this? What is this? And sometimes that's enough to release us from being stuck. If not, then we use this opposite antidote to skillfully replace. Sometimes we're still stuck. We're still in this groove. The mind is still looping over and over and over. So then the next step, we kind of up the ante a little bit, is called wise diversion. And Joseph Goldstein shares this wonderfully in this great book, very fabulous book, called Mindfulness, A Practical Guide to Awakening. It's a big one, but it's fabulous. I don't know, it probably shows up backwards in your camera. Joseph Goldstein. And on page 394, he's talking about this aspect of wise diversion. When we need this, we've tried the first two, and then he shares what's called the marshmallow experiment. This was done, you may have heard of this, in 1972. A psychologist, Walter Mischel of Stanford University, began this experiment. It went on for some time. And I think you can see some videos of it. It seems to me I've seen this, or maybe recreations of it, where they offer a tray to children. Same thing would happen with adults, probably. A tray with marshmallows, cookies, and other treats on it. And they tell them they can take one and eat it right away, or if they wait a few minutes while the experimenter, the person running this part of the experiment, leaves the room, if they wait until they come back into the room, they get to have 2 treats. So some immediately just eat the first treat. And then the others try these strategies to distract themselves so that they can get to the second treat. So some cover their eyes with their hands, or they turned around away so they wouldn't even see the treats. So they couldn't see the tray. Others started kicking the desk, right, trying to release that energy. Others were tugging on their pigtails. I love this one. Or they stroked the marshmallow as if it were a tiny stuffed animal. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love that. Just, you can imagine this kid just stroking this marshmallow. Just wait, then I can have 2. So, this isn't about us, trying to get more treats, because then we're probably all having lots of treats right now. Hey, Julie. But as Joseph says here, we can use this same strategy to let go of various hindrances and unwholesome mind states. We can shift our attention to some other object until those mind states have weakened or passed away, right? So this is what this next practice is the wise diversion. To shift our attention to another object until this has weakened or passed away. So going outside is really helpful for this. Having, not by reactivity, but by intention. I'm going to practice just sitting and having a mindful tea, or watching the birds on the bird feeder, or really noticing something else, or turning my attention to some art or creativity, to my breath. So you'd have to really discern what's needed here. What could I really get myself involved in that's going to really hold a full amount of your awareness, so that you can divert your attention from the tray of marshmallows. Yeah. The kids taught us well on that one. This is like the story that's often repeated, but perhaps you haven't heard it, or it's good to be reminded of it. This is most often attributed to a Cherokee legend of, so I'll just read it. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside of people, which is what we're talking about tonight. He said, "My son, the battle is between 2 wolves inside us all. It's a terrible fight. It's a terrible fight, and it's between 2 wolves. One is evil. Evil here, we in this teaching would say one is unskillful, one is unwholesome, unwise, rather than evil. They say he is, but we would just say this is anger. This wolf is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. So a long list. We could substitute many other states, but any state of mind and heart and body that is unskillful, unwholesome, painful. So this is the one wolf. He continues, the other wolf is good. He, she, it is, they are joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. That's a beautiful list. The same fight, the grandfather goes on, is going on inside of you and inside every other person too. And the grandchild thought about it for a minute and then asked the elder, which wolf will win this battle? And the old Cherokee simply replies, the one you feed. The one you feed. So what are we feeding? What are we fueling? This is the marshmallow experiment as well. What are we going to fuel? Our desire, I want it now, or our aversion, I can't be with this for another moment. It's not that. It's like, what do I really want to nourish and feed? And that's the one that's the state of mind that is going to flourish and grow. All right, last one. Sometimes even that doesn't work. So we turn towards it. Oh, it's like this. And we try to cultivate its opposite. And this is really, then we use these skillful diversions. And sometimes we're still stuck, this is like it goes on for days or longer. Or we wake up in the middle of the night and we're just so deeply in it. So this is the last resort now. Nice picture. Thank you, Marcus. The last resort to abandon unskillfulness when it has arisen after. You don't start with this. Please do not start with this because that is repression. This is the last resort, is that sometimes vigorous restraint is needed. Sometimes we need to just say, stop. No, I do this quite a bit with myself. When I'm, foot scratch. When I wake up in the night and there's some worry about a dear one and or one of the children, and they're not children anymore, but my mind pretty instantly goes to worst case scenario. Totally, this happens so quickly, and I'm always quite amazed. I catch myself, I'm like, I'm already at the funeral, thinking about what I'm gonna say or how I'm gonna be there. I'm like, what? How did that happen? Like in a flash, the mind will just poof, totally deep into the worst case scenario. And when I notice that, when that's noticed, it's like, this is completely not helpful to anyone. It's causing me a great deal of pain and suffering in this moment of thinking this way. It's not helping whoever it is I'm concerned about. It's not changing any future outcomes. It's completely unproductive, unwholesome, unskillful, unwise. And then I have to get quite firm with myself. At first, I try these other ones, right? I'm like, metta, may I be peaceful, may you be safe, But if I'm still caught, then I just say stop. No, no, no. And I just repeat that or get quite stern, like, no, not doing this anymore. I'm not feeding that wolf anymore. Yeah. So vigorous restraint is sometimes skillful. All right. So we're going to do a practice now, and then we'll have, I don't know, I'll feel into it, 5-10 minutes for some questions at the end, maybe 10. Yeah. We'll do a 20-minute meditation now and then have 10 minutes for questions. So this practice is going to be a little bit of a metta and compassion. So metta is a loving kindness, friendliness, cultivation practice. And compassion, karuna, it's called, compassion, is when metta, loving kindness, meets suffering and stays loving. And then the natural impulse to respond arises from that. So kind, friendly attention meets with the suffering, with what's painful, what's difficult, and stays loving, stays open, stays kind, stays receptive. Yeah. So this is what we're going to practice, these are antidotes to ill will, antidotes to fear, to grief, and antidotes to restlessness and remorse, because it has a calming quality, a kind attention quality. Okay. So, as you know, meditating in front of an electronic device, helpful to close other browsers or put your phone or tablet down, push away from your mouse, and begin to find a comfortable posture. You can lay down, you could stand up if you're feeling sleepy and need some energy. Yeah, get comfortable, sit comfortably. Get cozy. Maybe turn off the sound so you don't get other pings and alerts on if you're on a phone. So now you can begin to rest into the posture that you've chosen. If it feels comfortable for you to close your eyes, you're welcome. That can be very calming for some folks, and for other folks it is not calming. So if you'd rather not close your eyes, you could just rest your eyes downward so that you're not looking around at other distractions, just letting in a bit of light. And then just inviting a draping of a peaceful intention across your face, over your shoulders. Perhaps the intention to cultivate and practice these ways of kindness, friendliness, skillfulness. Take a few moments to see if there's another intention that resonates for you for this practice time. Perhaps something standing out from the talk that is something you want to turn your attention towards. And then we'll continue just inviting this kind attention to meet with our whole being, sitting, lying, standing here in this moment. And just meeting yourself as if a long lost friend has come to your door and you're allowed to embrace and hug and greet each other. See if you could greet yourself in this way right now. Hello, dear one. Welcome, welcome, come in. And of course, in the privacy of wherever you are or whoever you're with, you're welcome to place a hand at your heart or your belly if that feels grounding or comforting as you greet yourself here. And as you're really turning to greet yourself, there may be a felt experience of some energy, some mind state, some state of body that you're carrying that's with you right now. And practicing with this unanswerable question, what is this? How am I? How is my being right now? It doesn't need to arise as words or certainly not an answer, but just a feeling into, as if you're just greeting yourself. How am I? How are you? And as we turn our kind attention in this way, we might notice sensations or mind states or states of body and heart, emotions that may be known as fear, as grief, envy, restlessness, anger, ill will. So tonight we're just practicing giving some gentle attention to unskillful states. Of course, there's also very skillful states that are here within you right now. Just for now, we're also turning a little more towards these painful states. And we're meeting this suffering and staying loving, not adding more judgment or shaming or repression, just staying kind, friendly as you would to a friend or a dear one. Oh, I'm sorry it's like this. And can we offer that to ourselves right now? This metta meeting with suffering and staying loving, staying kind. Another, I mentioned placing a hand at the heart or the belly. Another touch that is very kind and comforting for some folks is placing a hand on the face or cheek, or both hands as you would to a dear one or a child. Oh, sweetheart, I know this is hard. This has been hard. This is hard. And so now, having met this, however it is for you, now we can skillfully, gently cultivate compassion with the phrase, replacing any mind loops, any energetic states with the phrase of compassion. I am aware of this pain. May this pain release. I am aware of this pain. May this pain release. I'm aware of this pain. May this pain release. And you can just keep repeating the phrase, but really feeling into connecting to the meaning of the phrase. This genuine wish, may this pain release. May I be at ease. Taking a few more moments with this connection to your own dear self. Now we'll gently turn our heart-mind awareness to another being, a being that, as Joseph Goldstein says, someone that makes you smile. Someone, there's a genuine, easeful heart connection. And this can be someone that's no longer with us in this life. It can be, but just reflecting on them brings some joy. It could be an animal being. It could be a child. It could be a mentor. There's someone coming into your awareness that you just feel a really easeful and genuine heart connection with. You can easily touch into the wish for them to be happy and well, safe and at ease, without feeling any overwhelm of painful states. And if there's a struggle over who to choose, just choose whatever is arising now and just let that be the right person kind of standing in for all those that you care for. Take a moment to really feel into your heart connection with this being. I think of my dogs sometimes, or family members, or sometimes a teacher. So just whatever you can connect with right now. And knowing that this being also experiences painful mind states, painful states of heart. And with your kind, friendly attention, touch into these wishes for them. May you be at ease. May your pain release. May you be free from suffering. And just keep repeating the wishes that resonate for you. It's helpful, and I'll say more after about the wording. It's helpful to use this phrase, may you, and then a short sentence after that. May you be free from suffering. May you be at ease. Really feeling into the meaning of the phrase, feeling into this heart wish. If your mind is getting caught into story, just notice that and come back to just repeating the phrase and feeling this intention. Gently returning to the phrases if attention has moved away. Just bringing a sense of releasing from this connection with this dear one. And now we're going to invite our opening of our awareness, our heart, mind, attention to all beings. All beings everywhere. We know that all beings everywhere wish to be safe, wish to be well, wish to be free of suffering and pain. So as I ring these 3 bells, just stay with this practice for these last few minutes. And with each ring of the bell, imagine this reverberating sound like ripples moving in all directions, rippling your intention, our collective intention, across and through and pervading all beings. The two-legged, the many-legged, the winged, the finned, the earth, all beings. So 3 bells, and just hearing each one, ripples extending further with your heart wish. May all beings have the opportunity to experiencing the release of unskillful states when they arise. May all beings be safe, and may all beings be at ease. And gently bowing if you like to end your practice, or just gently opening your eyes when you feel ready. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Julie. So there's some time here, as I said, to share any questions about this practice of right effort, wise effort, this second part of 4 right efforts. So any challenges that are showing up for you, or anything you would like to share about ways that have worked for you, and in ways of abandoning unskillfulness that has arisen for you, ways that you use that you might like to share. I know that not everyone on the video is able to access the chat function, but if you are able to, feel free to jump in. And just as you're thinking of any questions or comments you want to share, I'll just mention that on Saturday we'll be back for part 3 of Wise Effort. And so these first 2 are the wise efforts, right efforts around unskillful states to prevent their arising and to abandon them when they have arisen. The next 2 are around skillful states of mind and how to cultivate them and maintain them. So on Saturday, this Saturday, 9 o'clock, 9 till 10, I'll be talking about, and we will be practicing this third one of wholesome, skillful states. So turning to another direction. All 4 of them are helpful, though, and useful. Yes, may we all know comfort. That's a good one. Thank you, Terry. Yeah, the marshmallow experiment. Wise diversion and the marshmallow experiment. I try the pause in the form of a breath, stepping back or away for a moment. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Supriya. Even just a breath makes such a difference. Just that briefest pause is enough to give us a little window of opportunity to reset and redirect into something more skillful. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Exactly what I've been needing, as I have been falling into negative states while meditating recently. Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's, yeah, very common and not personal. So just assurance that that is not personal. That I think in general, there's a lot, there's just so much fear. So of course that's going to affect our meditation practice as well as our daily life practice. And it's difficult to kind of impose on ourselves in a formal meditation practice that I should do the same practice I have been doing, because these are extraordinary times that may likely require a different practice right now, a different approach. So give yourself that kindness to know doesn't need to be the way it ever was, and see what's needed right now. For diversion, I look out a window. Yes, thanks, Terry. Yeah, totally. We're out of bird feeder now, though. bird seed, and the bird seed stores are closed. I do find that helpful looking out the window at the birds. But also just looking at nature, whatever little bit of nature you can find. If you can get out in it, even better. You're welcome, Kiti. All right. Any other questions about practice or about life or ways that you find helpful to abandon or unskillfulness? Skillful diversion. The frank acknowledgement of the fact that falling into less than wholesome and or negative states is so helpful. That helps me to realize it is progress, not perfection. Lovely, Helena. That's a great reminder. Progress, not perfection. Thank you. I love that. Yeah. I really hope I emphasized and it sounds like it was heard, that the first step is really acknowledging first, as Helena is saying there, we don't go right to the suppression, the no, stop, don't do that, don't think that. That's the last resort after we've really done these other things of really acknowledging. All right. Last call. We've got a few moments here. There's so many good similes in here about the feeding the two wolves or the marshmallow experiment or the driving out the rotted peg with the good wood. I love that. That one is a helpful one. All right, then. I hope you have a skillful and wholesome, kind rest of your evening, or if somebody's watching this some other time of day later on, rest of your day. And I will be back on Saturday morning to talk about cultivating the arising of wholesome states. So that'll be fun. All right, dears. Metta can be an intention, even if it's not a feeling just yet. Absolutely. Yeah, the practice of metta, Natalie, thank you for that. Loving kindness is definitely not about feeling a certain emotion, a certain state, like I need to feel loving and kind. It's more inclining our awareness into a skillful intention, which includes meeting feeling frustrated or angry or full of fear or grief. It's including that, inclining towards that, not being like, I'm kind, I am loving. Yeah, great. Thanks, Sheila. See you Saturday. I watch the clouds float by and see all the different faces in the trees. Yes, very helpful. Nature is a great teacher. All right. Good night. Good day. Be well.